How we doing, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Richie Hicks Jr. Sports Podcast. With me, my co-host, Mr. Mike Zappy, out in San Antonio, Texas. How you doing, boss?
Man, I'm doing real good. Just another day. NBA playoffs have been wild these last couple nights, especially with that Kings-Warriors series. And, just baseball's in full swing. And the draft is next week. Come on, man. What's not to love about this time of year? Full swing. And the draft is next week.
I'll tell you what I love. Rangers tonight.
Me too.
Yeah, your Rangers and my Rangers. Two different Rangers, but each of them winning tonight. Chris Kreider becomes the number one goal getter in New York Rangers playoff history, scoring 2 tonight. But I got to say, the story of this game was the Rangers just blocking shots constantly. The Devils, their MO is speed. Everything that they do to win games is predicated off of speed. And I feel that whenever the Devils had a chance for a breakaway, whenever the Devils had a chance for numbers, the Rangers just stepped up. Just a beautiful team win. Igor was phenomenal in net. Pitches a shutout were it not for a late slash, which led to a penalty shot. Were it not for that, the Rangers pitch a shutout tonight. 5th goal coming on an empty netter. I think the interesting thing about this is that the Devils actually outshot the Rangers. And I think that's what's most impressive about this victory. But, the Rangers made their shots count. And I had also noticed the temperament of the Rangers definitely conducive to a team that's been in the wars. This is a team that was a couple of games away from the Stanley Cup Finals last year. Whereas the Devils are an upstart young team. But I really think that experience showed because, the Devils were getting real chippy at the end of the game, really trying to be the aggressors to start fights. And I think the Rangers just kind of kept their composure. Early on, Devils squandered a lot of opportunities to score goals. They had 3 power plays. 1 power play actually ended up carrying over to the second period. But the Rangers are perfect on the power plays. And, they did pretty damn well when they had their chances, 2 out of 3 on their own power plays. I look for a lot of the same in game 2, similar to what the Knicks needed to do tonight but didn't. Difference is I think the Rangers, after the eye test and watching this entire game, it just goes to show you that the regular season and the playoffs are 2 completely different animals. And I believe that if the Rangers go into Jersey and take a 2-0 lead, we could be looking at a sweep here. Rangers look like a team that is determined. And when I think about their roster, they just have so much Stanley Cup pedigree from guys that they acquired that were on Stanley Cup winning teams. This is a team that was put together to do that, to win a cup, not to be the best record, not to have the 1 seed, to come together at this time of the year and make it happen. So I'm happy. Happy with what I saw with the Rangers, and I'm glad they won because my other 2 teams did not. Mike Zappy is gone. I think he'll be back. He had complained to me that he was having some internet issues. So I'm going to continue to move it along. Here a Nick, there a Nick, everywhere a brick. The Knicks have a disappointing and lifeless performance in Cleveland. Cavs even the series 1-1. Quite frankly, when it comes down to what I saw happen tonight, I think really it was just a lack of intensity on the Knicks' part. I feel that the Cleveland Cavaliers were just not met in terms of effort nor intensity. Neither one of these teams shot the ball well in game 1, but I believe what happened here is, quite frankly, the Knicks haven't shot the ball well in Cleveland at all, even going back to game 2. I believe they were Zappy mentioned it before the show. What did you say? They were about 7 for 29 from downtown? Talking about the Knicks?
Yeah, 7 for 29 from downtown, and then the Cavaliers were 14 for 33. So we're talking about, double the amount threes made and only shot 4 more times. 42% from 3. That's pretty impressive by the Cavs. And you guys were a whopping 24.1%.
Yeah, just an ugly game on every level. You got to give Cleveland credit. Their team defense was awesome. They really made the Knicks have to work for everything. But I must say this, and I want to say this. If RJ Barrett plays anything that even resembles what he's looked like in game two, I want Tom Thibodeau, to have the audacity to just pull his ass, bench him. He was horrible, just horrible tonight. He can't finish around the rim. Terrible shot selection. Julius Randle looked like I thought I was watching Herb Williams run up and down the court. Julius Randle, you know how I feel about him. That's all I'm going to say there. Jalen Brunson could have played better, but he was exhausted, quite frankly. He was exhausted. Manuel Quickley, not resembling the sixth man of the year candidate. He's had two crappy games. But the Knicks are returning to one of the best home crowds in all of the NBA. And they did their job essentially by stealing one game. I do think a series like this, the Knicks might actually have to win two on the road. There's no guarantee that they're going to win all their home games. They have struggled at home this year. But, playoffs are a different animal. I think that New York crowd is going to inspire them. And I do think that they're going to have an opportunity to go back to Cleveland up 3-1. But they have to play better. There are no excuses. They got out physical on the glass, something that they did great in game one. And this is something that Cleveland had to do. I mean, to go down 0-2, losing both at home, almost insurmountable. So congrats to the Cavaliers. We'll be back.
It's definitely a good series, man. It's been one of the series I was really looking forward to. I think a lot of people were kind of sleeping on the Knicks and giving too much credit towards the Cavaliers. But there was others like ourselves that thought the Knicks were one of the better teams in the East. And, sometimes you're going to have one of those off nights. And it's like you said, you guys took one there, and really in the NBA playoffs, each series begins once a road team wins. So you already took care of that part. But I agree. I think the Cavs are going to be able to sneak one away in New York, whereas you're going to have to win game 5 and 6 type of thing, because you don't want to come back to Cleveland for game 7. Although you guys are pretty good on the road.
Dude. Not by any means. A game 7 there, even though we're one of the better road teams in the league, not ideal. My hope is the Knicks win all their home games. If the Knicks win all their home games, we're going to win this series. Bottom line. We have 3. We have the home court advantage for the remainder of the series until we drop one at home. So winning game 1 gave us that advantage. One game at a time. But the bottom line is the Knicks have to shoot the ball better. It was more than just poor shooting. They just didn't bring the intensity today. They did not. I will say this early on. We played a good first quarter. That's about it. That's all I could really say about tonight. We played a good first quarter.
Well, championships are not won in the first quarter, so.
No, but that's essentially all I could say tonight. Knock it down as a mulligan, move along. But this was tough to watch tonight, and I didn't watch too much of it once I saw that it was getting out of hand. I concentrated on the Ranger game, and I'll be honest, the Yankees frustrated me too, and we'll speak on them in a bit. But I did my absolute best to show the Knicks patience, but tonight just wasn't the night for the Knicks.
No, it's going to be best to see how you guys respond for game 3, and that's where you're going to learn a lot about your team, to be honest with you.
Absolutely. But, I got to say this. Seeing RJ Barrett struggle and struggle and struggle and struggle, and looking at a well-rested, fresh Derrick Rose just sitting on the bench. I'm like, come here. I'm not an RJ Barrett fan. I'll be honest. I know in the offseason when that Donovan Mitchell trade was a potential thing with Utah, Obi I didn't want to get rid of. That was a guy I did not want to part with. But when they were talking Julius Randle and RJ Barrett, I'm like, guys, what are we waiting for here? Just want to say that. And I get it. You got to root for the guys that are on your team. I get it. But
God,
RJ Barrett.
Oh, I hope the Knicks don't lose this series, and Randall really pisses you off because I can only imagine what it's going to be like come next week at the end of the week.
Well, like I said, I feel that I think he's a bit overrated. I don't think he does anything that most guys in his position wouldn't do or shouldn't do. Um, he had one awesome year in 2020. Last year, not so much. You bring in Jalen Brunson, and I think it kind of covers a lot of the warts. But if the Knicks are in a position to move him in a package deal with some draft capital, we have a lot of draft capital, to a Portland, go get Dame Lillard. Shit, I'd even take Luka. And believe me, I know that Luka he has certain things he needs to work on too. But one thing I do know is that he and Jalen Brunson played well together, and I do like the familiarity aspect there. And another thing too that I know how you've said that Josh Hart's been the X factor. And that's a little known fact that those guys were teammates at Villanova. I like the future of the Knicks, the trajectory, the amount of draft capital. There's still a few things that this team needs to improve upon, and I do believe that one of them is going to be getting rid of a popular player, but not as popular as he was a couple of years ago. Because I think the fan base is kind of seeing some of the warts when speaking about Mr. Randall.
Well, before you continue to lick your chops over there about Dame Lillard, I got news for you. He's going to be in the Miami Heat next year. So
it wouldn't surprise me, considering that there's going to be certain people that they're going to be moving on from.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah. But maybe Luka, that's an opportunity there. But, hey, man, just, game 3.
Yeah, you want to show a player that you're real pissed, go send him to a team that's under investigation for tanking.
Yeah, no kidding.
Lucky I'm not running the Knicks. All right. Damar Hamlin cleared to return. One of the scariest things that I've ever seen occur on a football field. There's a couple of other incidences. Very young. Dennis Byrd was scary. Mike Utley was scary. The Michael Irvin injury in Philadelphia was scary. But I must say, this undeniably was the worst because technically the man almost died.
He didn't almost die. He did die.
Yeah, they brought him back.
So, and after hearing him today, during his interview, talking about how he's going to return and then finally telling everybody what it was exactly what was explained to me back the night that it happened. It was the commodio cordis, where it's whenever there's such instant impact to a certain part of your heart. And remember, it was right after that hit by T. Higgins. And within 7 seconds, your heart stops. And it's actually the leading cause of deaths in young athletes. So to hear that it was in fact that, it blows my mind that here's a guy that was actually dead on the field.
I'll be honest, Zap, I didn't think that we were going to have the outcome that we did have.
No, he's going to be America's favorite NFL player next year. There's no question about it. I get that part, but I must say, Matt, if I'm his parents, he doesn't have a wife to my knowledge. He's very close to his brother. He's very close to his parents. If I'm his parents, I would try everything in my power to talk him out of resuming his career, given the risk factor with him especially. It's just, I don't know what to say, man. It's not the same thing as like a Reggie Lewis, in the sense that Reggie had issues with his heart and was advised by certain doctors to no longer play. Reggie essentially put his life on the line to take care of his family. Unfortunately, he lost his life doing something that he loved. In Damar's case, freak accident, I get it. But after seeing what I saw, it's almost like I'm traumatized by it. And I don't want this guy to ever be on a field again. Well, I almost want the Bills to pay him to stay away. No, but he did the right thing. He went and got 3 opinions from 3 of the best cardiologists in America, and all 3 of them cleared him. This is there wasn't any advice of it would probably be in your best interest for you to retire. These are 3 doctors that understand what happened and gave him the clearance and said the likelihood of this happening again are very, 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 very small. So that's why it's one of the it's a great story. Now if there was other advice that was given that we don't recommend, or if it was 2 out of 3 or something like that, then yeah, I'd be
I
there
do
with
want to
you.
ask you this. I do want to ask you this. If you're an opponent, given the magnitude of every fan base, every fan, every player rallying around this young guy, if you're an opponent, do you find it that it could actually be a little harder for you to go full throttle against this guy because of what you saw and the traumatized nature of some of it?
No, because if that's the case, you don't step foot on the field.
No, I get that, but
No.
saying and being in the moment, two different animals.
No. People would say something before then. No, these are paid professionals to do their job, and they all understand that at any point an injury can happen. You don't be that guy that takes your foot off the gas pedal and then puts yourself at risk. And that's just no. I think if there are players out there that are going to have any thought in their mind whatsoever, then they probably will say, I won't play this game. But I think the one that it's going to affect the most is going to be Damar Hamlin when he goes to make that first tackle. I guarantee you the nerves are going to be running through him when he gets on that field.
Yeah,
but up until he makes that tackle,
I couldn't even imagine. It's gotta be weird.
Yeah, it's gonna be weird, but it's definitely a story that all of America is going to be watching. Everyone, and I already told you I'm getting a Damar Hamlin jersey. This guy's going to be donating towards research to help out with what he went through to try to find a cure for this. So we're not losing so many young individuals at their respective sport, it's just there's so much good coming out of this. And of course, the most ultimate good was that he got to walk again, and now he's going to get to continue to do the thing he loves again,
No, absolutely. I mean, you always like to see a good ending on something that looked, really uphill and damn near hopeless. Because I remember just the atmosphere of watching that game and what came after it. It was tough, man. It was tough to watch. I'm happy for him because you want everybody to do what they're supposed to do, so to speak. And he's a football player at the end of the day. But I'd be lying if I said that next time he gets on the field that me as just a human being, let alone a fan, I'm going to be concerned. It's just one of those things.
We'll all be nervous. Guarantee. And I guarantee you, just think of it this way. When Dak made his return and he took that first tackle, when you saw his leg kind of bend, it was like, and now we're talking about a player that died on the field, that he's going to be on the field again. Of course, we're all going to be nervous for him. And that's just human nature,
Absolutely.
Keeping how it is.
Ozzy Albies just homered for me in our fantasy league. Gonna move it over to DeAndre Hopkins. A few days ago.
Whoa! Before you do, breaking news: Draymond Green has been suspended for Game 3.
Wow, I'm looking at it right now too.
Game 3. Wow, that is huge because the Warriors are not the Warriors if Draymond Green is not on the court.
Yeah, he's their backbone. Wow. Wow. I get that they have to set a precedent, but dude, this is not my NBA anymore. Okay. D-Hop's next destination. We weigh the best options for him. The two teams that came up recently when I was watching ESPN were the Buffalo Bills and the Kansas City Chiefs. He kind of snickered at the idea of playing with Aaron Rodgers as a joke. I don't think he has the highest opinion of where Rodgers' career trajectory is at this moment. He really rolled his eyes about the Patriots. Gave a bit of a positive smirk with the Bills, more so of like a duh. Of course I would want to play with the Chiefs. First of all, I think it goes without saying that the Bills need him more than the Chiefs. I think we could probably agree on that. Reason I say that is because the Chiefs just won a Super Bowl. And this is a year that they let Tyreek Hill walk. You know what I'm saying? So I believe that they definitely need him more than the Chiefs need him. But after thinking about it, I actually think the Chiefs are the team that's going to acquire him.
Yeah, I do too, because when I look at the draft, there's really two positions that I can think of the Chiefs really need. That's wide receiver one. So you have DeAndre, and then it's a left tackle. Even though they signed, what's his name, from Miami, he's more of a right tackle, but they gave him left tackle money.
Yeah.
And if you're sitting there with the 31st pick in the NFL draft and you're looking at it like, all right, what receivers really are as good as DeAndre Hopkins that you can – because DeAndre you're going to get for 3-4 years. A rookie, you're going to get for 3-4 years. But if you're at the end of the first round, probability says – considering that this year's draft class is not deep, it's actually smarter to use that first to trade for DeAndre, just get it done. And it might take a second.
And when you're picking that late, it's almost like giving up a second anyway.
Exactly. So, and really in the draft, there's 16 true number one players. Everyone else is seconds, so, but the only thing you're losing with that is the 5th-year option. But really, who cares? You're just Kansas City Chiefs, and you have the opportunity to be a dynasty because, quite frankly, I don't think they're going to lose next year. I think they're going to be hoisting the trophy again next year.
Yeah, you can never forecast potential injuries or things that can happen. And as we saw this past year, Patrick Mahomes, he's actually still recovering from that injury. But, he's been dinged up the last few years in the playoffs. He's been able to navigate through a lot of injuries. But they also lost Juju.
They lost
Juju as a Patriot, and that's another reason why a guy like a DeAndre makes a world of sense.
It makes a world of sense. And then when I look at Buffalo, I think Buffalo just has more needs that they can't afford to give up the number 27 pick, that they actually have to fill some positions because we saw the decline in their defense last year. Yeah, clearly they need another receiver. But
I have mixed feelings on that. I view Gabe Davis as a guy that shouldn't be a number 2 receiver. I think he's fortunate to be a number 2. I think in reality he's more like a number 3. You put a D-Hop there, I think things go smoothly. But the only thing is, D-Hop has to understand on a level that he's essentially the number 2 or the 1B as opposed to the 1A, because that is Stephon Diggs.
Well, unless, of course, we find out Stephon got traded to Dallas, and then everything's okay.
They're not moving him. No, not at all. But I will say this. I know that we said this recently that Dalvin Cook has been linked to Miami, and that makes sense. But I must admit that if he has an opportunity to go to Buffalo, that would be some backfield with him, his brother, and Damian Harris. That would be something.
So I think I saw something that he said he would not go to Buffalo because he does not want to take his brother's opportunities away, that he wants his brother to develop his own team. So, and I thought that was interesting too, but it's just, it's one of those, I guess.
It would be different if
the Bills.
Literally the same position.
Yeah. This isn't a Trayvon and Stephon type situation or a Tiki and Rondé. This is two brothers that play the exact same position, and this younger brother looks like he might be having a big year this year, especially with the departure of Devin Singletary. But now where it'll be interesting, but if the Bills go get Bijan Robinson, it's like, but of course you're going to take the younger guy.
But similar to your point about why they shouldn't trade for a D-Hop because of their other team needs, I can't see them drafting a Bijan considering their other team needs. I think Bijan, particularly if the Vikings move on from Cook, could be a target of theirs. The next team up that would be the obvious is actually my team. But then, you beg to question, I don't think you beg to question if it's good value. I think you beg to question, should we go elsewhere given our team needs? But I'm sorry, Barkley not happy? You get an opportunity to get a guy like Bijan Robinson, and that's rookie money all over again? Yeah, buddy, you make that pick. And things will find a way of working themselves out. If you got to trade later round picks, you take him.
Get ready. There's two names that come to mind for you guys. It's Osiris and Jack Campbell. Those are the two guys. Osiris Torrance, guard out of Florida, because you need a guard.
I certainly wouldn't be upset with that pick. But I must admit,
Campbell.
If Bijan's on the board, and if we're not – now I know you said this off air recently. If the Giants don't draft a running back, it's a way of them saying to Barkley, hey, I know you're not happy, but we still want you long term. They go draft a Bijan, Barkley will be a man. He'll be a professional. He'll play his 1 year with Bijan, and then he will be on his way and figure out how he's going to make money elsewhere. And at that point, I couldn't blame him. Mm-hmm. I certainly couldn't. But NFL draft's coming up soon, man. And that's going to be a show we're doing very soon, and I am excited about that one. But before we anything else you want to speak on NFL related before we move it along?
No, man. I mean, we actually tomorrow or Friday or Thursday, we should be getting the schedule release, the preseason schedule release. And then, of course, draft next week. And then the regular season schedule release will be the week after or 2 weeks after the draft. It has still not been said yet what day.
Yeah, I believe that's usually that lines up right in the middle of May.
Yeah, well, the last couple of years, because in years past, it was always the week before the draft where the schedule would drop. But they went away from that because during COVID, that's what had changed everything.
Right. You're right. But it'll be here soon enough.
Yeah, it's going to be here soon enough. And just, everything NFL, it's time to keep an eye on all the names that are about to move. We saw a lot of them move last year on draft day. And I think we're going to be seeing that again this year. And I wouldn't be surprised if it's Saquon, Derrick Henry. I wouldn't be surprised if the Bengals move on from Joe Mixon. They've already asked him to take a pay cut. So
this is one of the more prolific drafts where you could see more than one big name established player get moved. And that's a huge variable that's happening right now.
Absolutely.
Could. Yeah, it's exciting, man. This draft is going to be very exciting. I want to say this. It's very rare that I laugh about anything that has to do with at the Yankees' expense. This was a little funny. Shohei Ohtani going yard against the Yankees. I don't know what the hell they put on his head, but apparently it cost $2,500. And, anyone that watches this show knows that I've been having a lot of fun playfully with the whole Shohei Ohtani, Aaron Judge comparison. Going into the year, everybody and their mother was picking Ohtani to be like the end-all MVP. So I've had a good time with making some fun of that. But on a more serious note, can the New York Yankees sustain any kind of success with the growing injuries they got? Right now, you're missing Josh Donaldson at third, who I'm not the biggest fan of, but he's still a bat, and he's still a good third baseman. You're missing Carlos Rodon, who is still bitching about back issues. You're missing Luis Severino, who's often injured. You are missing your center fielder, Harrison Bader, who, from what I read recently, might be returning soon. And you're missing power-hitting DH, occasional right fielder, Giancarlo Stanton, for up to 6 weeks, possibly more. These are a lot of things to overcome right now. And I must say, you're getting situations where you're getting guys getting starts that you do not want starting games. Clark Schmidt has proven to me in a short sample size, even going back to last year, that he is not starting pitching material. He might be one day, but he's not right now.
Oh, man. Oh, why would you even tell me that? Why would you tell me that? You don't even know why. Did you read my message earlier today about Schmidt?
Nah.
If you can get here in time for next Friday night's game, it's going to be DeGrom versus Schmidt.
Oh, that joy, oh joy.
I was like,
and what's the deal? What's the deal with DeGrom right now with that injury?
He's good. He's going to make his next start.
I'm happy to hear that.
It wasn't a precautionary move.
I'm happy to hear that because he's been marred with so many bad injuries. But I got to say, man, I am a little concerned right now with the Yankees, because this is a team that's already had trouble moving runners in scoring position, even with a healthy roster. This has just been a team that for far too long has lived and died with the long ball, similar to how you talked the other night about your Golden State Warriors living and dying with the three. Well, my Yankees live and die with the long ball. And essentially, we have a great bullpen, pretty good starting pitching. So you're like, yeah, we'll hit one late. No worry. Everything will be all right. But I must say, it's you follow baseball. You follow teams that are winning championships. It's not the formula. A lot of baseball left. It's only April. And April is known for overreactions, but I do not like these injuries right now. There are too many injuries.
Yeah, the one solution I will give you is Stanton needs to be your permanent DH.
Yeah, I don't want him in the field ever.
No, he needs to be your permanent DH. I think as the season is starting to progress, I think we're going to be seeing the Yankees make a move for an outfielder. I think it's starting to show that it's a need.
It's a necessary need. It's a gaping hole in the lineup because we just don't have a true answer. You have options. Cabrera is far from consistent right now. Aaron Hicks is consistently awful. IKF, I admire the fact that he's willing to do anything for the team to get playing time, but still, not ideal. Harrison Bader, who is actually one of the more dynamic center fielders defensively when he's healthy, unfortunately hasn't been since we've acquired him. Aaron Judge is Aaron Judge. The man's going to hit close to 60 again. The man hits to all fields. He's a great hitter through and through, but, there's only so much he could do.
But you know who didn't hit a home run today? And you know who did?
Oh, I know.
Who was that?
America's MVP.
America's MVP. That's right. Where did he hit that home run?
I wouldn't say quite towards the Major Deegan, but, he had some velo on that.
Oh, man. I bet that one hurt when you saw that. It's like,
dude, I'll be honest with you. You know why it couldn't hurt? Because when I saw them put that ridiculous thing on this dude's head, it was so friggin' funny. Like, you saw how I snapshot it because I was watching the game from my couch? I literally snapshot it and sent it to you. Because even I thought it was funny. I'm like, dude, I'm a diehard Yankee fan, but this shit's funny.
It was funny.
And I think I said America's MVP just goes, I don't remember. It was something along those lines. But it was that kind of day, the Yankees, this is the frustration with today's game. Yankees had the bases loaded 2 different times. Yankees were inches away from chasing away their starter, Suarez. They just could not get it done today. But, unfortunately, and I'm not known for being negative, but I do consider myself a realist. Unfortunately, Yankee fans, this is going to be what we're going to be seeing for a while. This is a team that has a lot of star power, but this is a team that I still feel has a weird lineup. They don't necessarily complement each other the best. I'm challenging you. I always do this shit when I get mad with the Yankees. I'm challenging you, Yankees. Prove me wrong. I want to be wrong. Come on.
All I know is I can't wait till next weekend series.
I'm going to talk about a team that actually is hitting right now. Your Texas Rangers improving to 11-6. Getting some good news. Jacob deGrom, clean bill of health, something you need after making that massive investment. Zappy, take it away, man. I know you mentioned Marcus Semien 3 consecutive days with a home run, and I think I replied, do that 5 more days in a row, and you tie Donnie Baseball and the kid, Ken Griffey Jr.
Yeah, so, it's been something nice because I'll never forget, right before the season started, you wanted my actual Zappy, give me what do you really think is going to be happening with the Rangers this year? How do you feel? And I was like, playoffs. Once I was like, you know what? I'm going to stop giving people the answer they want to hear, and I'm going to say the people the answer they need to hear. This team, ever since Sunday night, it's been fun. First of all, going into Houston and taking 2 of 3.
That's a big statement.
Sent a huge message, and then
that's a massive
completed it on Bruce Bochy's birthday. That was even better. But watching Bruce Bochy manage this team and manage the bullpen has been, it's been phenomenal. And this bullpen has not allowed a lot of runs this year. And then you talk about the starting pitching has actually been doing really good. But you look at the 7th inning of Sunday night's game, and it was, Nate Lowe that got it started. A few walks happened. And a little later, we have Marcus Semien hitting a grand slam, and his bat hasn't stopped since then. Rangers are on a roll, man. They're 3-0 in the last 3, obviously. 11-6 on the season, second best record in the American League. And it's looking good so far. And right now, they close out their series with Kansas City tomorrow. Then they got the A's and then the Reds before their date with the Yankees next week. So they have games that'll prepare them and help build their confidence, because the Yankees is going to be a test. It's going to be a test, and it's at home this time. So they passed test 1 in Houston. Now you got to get the other dog from the AL there.
We do have a propensity for actually hitting well, putting up. We've had some good moments in Texas over the last few years. We had a no-hitter with Corey Kluber. We had the Judge homer.
Mm-hmm.
And in general, even in games that we've lost to you, we have managed to get some good offensive production in that stadium. So I do think it's going to be interesting to see how that series plays out. And I think it's a good measuring stick, too, because I do think rather highly of your team right now. I think you guys are in a good position because the Astros are not the Astros right now. And this is the time that you got to pounce on them and try to get some distance. The Angels, they're still kind of an enigma. They're a team that could do what they did tonight, beat the Yankees. I'll be honest. Yankees beat themselves tonight. I'm going to this is an Angels team that I've seen lose games to the Athletics. I still don't think the Angels are all that great, but I do think that they have two of the absolute best talents that have ever played the game of baseball on the same team at the same time. That obviously being Trout and Ohtani. Looking at your division, and you look at Seattle. You ask me, Seattle's underachieving in a big way.
Mm-hmm. They really are, and it's crazy because, like you said, it's the opportunity right now where the Rangers need to be taking advantage of this, and they are. Like I said,
you can't ask for anything more.
No, you can't. And really,
17 games.
Yeah, and believe it or not, like I said, second best record in the American League right now. They've scored the second most runs in the American League. They have allowed the 4th least runs scored in the American League, 4th or 5th. So, I mean, they're doing it with hitting and pitching, and that is a formula to make it to the playoffs. Obviously, injuries can always derail a season, but based on what we're seeing right now with this team, I think people are starting to recognize that, okay, Texas has arrived, because last year, we've talked about this, they went all in offensively, the hitting was there. This offseason, they go all in on pitching, and now we're seeing it come together. I thought it was going to take another year, but this is a thing of beauty because
I picked up Evaldi today. I actually had Evaldi.
I saw that.
Yeah, I picked him up. As a player I've always liked. I mean, he's a former Yankee, dude. I told you this on a previous show. I was not happy when Evaldi moved on from the New York Yankees, or they moved on from him, really. I didn't like how they let him go. This is funny. So we go from the Rangers to Fernando Tatis. They actually have a little history as well. When Fernando Tatis was challenged by the Fun Police.
Yeah.
I always say, baseball purists are like, oh, he shouldn't have swung. I'm like, I don't give a shit, dude. You put that ball in the wheelhouse,
I'm swinging.
And you're not walking me? What's worse, a grand slam or walking me? What do people do with Barry Bonds?
Yeah, I'm swinging.
I've seen people kind of give Judge the Bonds treatment, but Fernando Tatis is returning less than 48 hours. According to you, you said you had some friends that were checking him out at the training affiliate.
So he was playing down with the El Paso Chihuahuas. And, obviously me being from El Paso, I still have friends that live there, and they actually support that minor league baseball team, and they were present for his games, and these are guys that know baseball and are just watching. They're like, oh my God, like I cannot wait to see when Tatis is back, because for one, I think he wants to send the message, because we're talking about a guy that was supposed to be the face of baseball. And then, of course, the news broke, and then now everyone's saying you're no longer the face of baseball.
Yeah, he got busted with the PEDs. That definitely did a number to his reputation for sure.
Yeah, and he's young enough where he can save it. This is a kid. He's only 24 years old. So, that's the one thing, is he can still save his reputation. He can rebuild his reputation and his character. That's the one positive to come out of this. But from the highlights I've seen of him, from the things I've heard about how he looked, he's ready. And, and it just, to see him go into the Padres lineup this Thursday, I want to see what this Padres team is going to look like now, and this is going to be exciting, because we're talking about one of the greatest shortstops in baseball right now, if not the best one.
Mm-hmm.
But he's going to be playing left field. That's what's even crazier.
Indeed. This is an ugly scene out in Winnipeg. The Winnipeg Jets game. Player requiring 75 stitches after taking a skate to the face. And I'm actually looking at this unfold. Oh, that's ugly.
Ooh, do I have to see it?
Yeah, check it out after we're done. But hockey players are a different breed. I want to say that right now.
No question.
When I look at, speaking of Julius Randle, he's in pain. Listen, I'm not trying. It's just not the same thing. That's all I'm going to say. There's a lot of things I could say. I'm not going to say any of that. All I'm going to say is that hockey players are a different breed.
Hey, I learned my lesson a couple days ago, so I'm not saying that anything else again.
No, Fernando Tatis, I know in our preseason show, you picked him to potentially be the MLB home run leader despite serving a suspension that dates back to last year. That's the PED suspension. He missed all of his other games last year prior to that because of a motorcycle accident. He messed up his wrist. When I think about the talent that is Fernando Tatis, yeah, I must admit that if there's a player that could do it, it is him. There's a reason why Major League Baseball was flirting with him in the sense of making him the quote-unquote face of the league. I mean, just a couple of short years ago, people were calling him the Latino Derek Jeter. Yeah. And the truth is, I think as fans and as a society in general, while I don't condone using performance-enhancing drugs or any kind of shortcuts, I think what's an important lesson to apply here is like, dude, people make mistakes, especially young people. And I don't think it's necessary to totally write this guy off if he has an opportunity here to rewrite the script. Now, if this is a kind of situation where he's getting plucked a couple of years down the road and this is a recurring thing, similar to like even what happened with Alex Rodriguez. I mean, when I saw Alex Rodriguez lie to Peter Gammons, I didn't give two shits if he was a New York Yankee. I had literally lost a lot of respect for the dude. Never going to question his talents as a phenomenal baseball player. I even enjoyed him as an analyst. The man is very intelligent. But I guess what I'm trying to say is, the kid has fucked up and he's been through a lot. So let's see if he can turn it around before we all just assume that, image repair is no joke. Ask Will Smith. But, at the same time, as young as he is, he didn't kill nobody. There's worse people and worse situations out there. At the end of the day, this is a sport. So I hope he plays well. I know he's super talented. And I hope he realizes that as great as he is, he doesn't need to use any of these things because he has God-given ability, and that's the reason why he's on the show to begin with.
Yeah.
Skip versus Chuck, the irony. All right, short and sweet. Maybe not so short. This is basically a 10-year rivalry between Skip Bayless and Charles Barkley. A couple of days ago, I checked out this video of Skip truly and thoroughly playing the victim. He literally took out multiple papers, reading almost like he was doing like a quick biography of his life and saying that Chuck was wrong for calling him a sports reporter. He's like, I haven't been a sports reporter for 1978. I was an investigative reporter, and I was this, and I was that. Point of the matter is that the reason why I find this so amusing, so funny, is that Skip Bayless has made a career out of trying to tear down the character of others. When I think about a Terrell Owens, who quite frankly the media just loved to mess with that guy's reputation, this is a dude that never did drugs. This is a dude that never had any violent acts of violence in his personal life. This is a dude that if he was guilty of anything, it was for kind of being anti-establishment. I think we could probably both agree on that.
Mm-hmm.
But years later, he's a frequent guest on different shows. You realize that the man is truly well versed. The man knows his football, and when you look at like the body of work the fact that he wasn't a first ballot Hall of Famer is really insulting to anybody with a shred of intelligence. But when Skip used to call this dude Team Obliterator, I'm like, bro, you're taking it far. I mean, don't get me wrong, it was entertaining. But, you don't really realize how, I keep saying about this image stuff. It's like they choose who they're going to push and they choose who they're going to tear down. And I guess the reason I'm enjoying some of this is that I think Skip is finally getting a decent taste of his own medicine. We saw it with the Shannon Sharp thing, where he talked down to a Hall of Fame tight end, probably a top 10 tight end all time in the history of the league. So because you like Tom Brady and because Shannon's trying to make an objective point, you're going to insult this man and say Tom Brady's better? Last time I checked, they played different positions. What is he better at? Running routes? That's a false. You know what I mean? Like that'd be the dumbest shit I ever heard. He's better than you? What, bro? Better than you? That'd be like if you told Lawrence Taylor he's better than you. Better at what?
Sucking.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of his right now. I haven't been a fan of his.
No, I haven't been a fan of his for a long time, but I did want to make a mention of it that I myself enjoy seeing a guy that has always kind of been like a low-key bully finally getting a little bit of his own medicine from a guy who, quite frankly, doesn't care, a guy who doesn't take shit off of anybody. Because believe you me, if Charles Barkley could get one of the greatest basketball players on planet Earth right behind us here, Kevin Durant, to always crack, what do you think he could do to Skip Bayless? You know what I'm saying? And, I'm actually happy that somebody's putting him in his place because it's been a long overdue. Long overdue.
And you know what? I don't think it's going to stop.
Nah.
It's not going to stop. You know why? Because that's how he gets his paychecks.
Well, at the end of the day, it's like, yeah, he's paid to be divisive. And I've said this even going back to when he was on the network with Stephen A., that they have outgrown why they are there in the first place, and they have become basically just ridiculous personalities, like almost like not even real anymore, like almost like tailor-made for what their respective networks are trying to push. And I've said this before, like it was born on ESPN, they broke up, obviously Stephen A. still with ESPN. Skip isn't doing his own thing. But the point to be made is just like it's a far cry from the stuff that we enjoyed. When you talk about the real legends that made that network great, guys like the great Stuart Scott, may he rest in peace, Linda Cohn, Keith Olbermann, Dan Patrick, of course, Chris Bergman, Tom Jackson. So many great contributors to that network. And I've seen so many talented people leave that network because I feel that they are tired of feeling like they have to be robots or they have to be some kind of image that ESPN is trying to push as opposed to being their own selves. We've seen it with a lot of great talents that have moved on from there. But that's all I got for tonight. Anything you want to add before we slide out of here?
No, just give everyone an update. We got the Suns are ahead of the Clippers right now, 111-102 with 4:50 to go in the fourth quarter. So it looks like the Suns are able to tie the series back up if they can hold on. KD's having himself a game. As
I expected, Kevin Durant definitely has to take over and prove why he is possibly the most talented player in the world. Must win for Phoenix, no doubt about it, because right now the LA Clippers have the home court advantage moving forward, whether they make a big comeback or if it goes 1-1. I still think Phoenix pulls this out in 7. That was my initial prediction. But I must admit, 2 nights of watching Knicks basketball, 2 different nights, I am not too endeared with what I've seen, because, we did blow a double-digit lead in game 1. This could easily be 2-0 as opposed to 1-1. So to Knicks fans that are going to try to play this down, I'm going to say this very honestly. Do not play this down. This is something to worry about. The Knicks have to make a statement at the Mecca, Madison Square Garden, for Game 3. As far as the Rangers go, I have a lot more faith in that Garden team at the moment. Yankees got to get healthy. Yankees got to get healthy.
Stars got to figure out the Wild.
That's going to be a great series myself. I picked the Stars to win that in 7. Some people might laugh at me about this. I actually picked our rivals, the New York Islanders, to beat the Hurricanes in 7. That might be a stretch, but I will say this: the Islanders should have won Game 1, and I'm a Ranger fan saying that, so that does hurt a little. But just keeping it honest. That is all. Look for us soon. We are going to give you details on our NFL mock draft round 1 show. Zappy and I are going to be bringing it. We might be having some company with us. We're going to get with the rest of our guys and figure that out, but we will be promoting that show and letting you know exactly when we plan to go with that.
Pretty sure I'm going kicker with the number 1 pick.
Absolutely, man. You got it.
Sure.
Kicker, punter, running back. Let's get it.
Or long snapper.
Dude, long snappers are it.
And, well, think of the Bengals had one last year in Game 1. They don't. That's their season changes completely because they didn't have one. But yeah, no, I'm excited about it, especially after doing the preview we did the other night. That was real good. I'm excited about this mock draft. I think it's going to be a fun night. The curveballs that might be thrown, we might throw in some trades in there. I think it's going to be a good time.
Well, yeah, because I mean, this is a season where you have, we said it, so many superstars can be traded in this particular draft. That's what makes it so exciting. Please make it a point, like and subscribe to the channel, the Richie Hicks Jr. Sports Podcast. And also, please make it a point to check out the Casual Convo show where I got Idris and Miss Coco do their thing every Wednesday night from 8 to 10. You can find that on Hand Radio. That's all for now, guys. Hey. Mike Zappy signing out. I am your. Oh, this again. Here we go.
We've been winning. It's working.
Yeah. You don't want me in Texas. That thing might suddenly disappear.
Let's go. Come on down next week, buddy. We're waiting on you. Let's go. Got my draft hat. I'm ready to roll.
Yeah, he is ready. Good job, New York Rangers. I am very proud of you guys tonight. I do not want to play second fiddle to those Devils. That is a rivalry that runs deep. Until next time, he's Zappy. I am Richie, and we hope you have a good morning. I think it's just about the next day. We out.